Better World Blueprint. Good humans doing good things.
Hello, I'm Siobhan Hunt. I started this podcast to give some balance to most of the media we consume, because you've probably noticed that a lot of what we see is telling us we're going to hell in a handbasket. But the people I speak to here, they're doing things that give me hope. They're doing things that are making this world a better place. Welcome to A Better World Blueprint. Laurie Cowled is a name you probably haven't heard, but she's been changing lives in ways that will continue to make the world a better place long after she's gone. In 2024, Laurie was awarded a Member of the Order of Australia for her philanthropy in the arts, education and health services. Over her life, she has deliberately and thoughtfully changed people's lives. Now, you're going to have to bear with me because I'm fairly certain that I am not going to be able to cover all the things that Laurie has done, but I'm going to give it a shot. She's created scholarships and funds for women at QUT, NIDA, the Australian Ballet. She's established a regional scholarship and Women in Engineering Prize at the University of the Sunshine Coast. She's a benefactor at the Queensland Ballet, Bangarra Dance Theatre, the Art Gallery of New South Wales, Sydney Theatre Company, the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales Foundation, Room to Read's Education Resilience Fund, and the Royal Flying Doctor Service. She also provides a postgraduate research scholarship for brain research at Neuroscience Research Australia and several scholarships at UTS for Indigenous female students. Internationally, she's a supporter of the Indian Health Program and established trust banks in 2008 in West Timor. See what I mean? It's quite a list. I hope you enjoy my chat with Laurie Cowled. Hello, Laurie, and welcome to A Better World Blueprint.
Thank you, Siobhan. It's very nice to be with you.
Was there a moment in your life where you decided philanthropy was something you wanted to do?
Well, all my life I've given to the Red Cross or this or that, but my husband and I decided that whoever was left would leave our estate to charity. He died, unfortunately, after 21 years of marriage, and then I had to decide quickly because my will gave it all to him, so I had to have a new will straight away. So I thought about it and I thought, I don't want to just leave the whole lot to XYZ charities. I'd like to be able to know a bit about what happens to it. And because I came from a little town called Bethungra in New South Wales you couldn't go anywhere else for a higher education, etc. And I, of course, wanted to be an artist or a ballerina or something like that. And there was no one there that could tell me I had no talent whatsoever. So anyway, eventually I decided that what I wanted to do was to help young country women, both Indigenous and Australian, or whatever you'd like to say they are, to get an education. So that's how it all started. And funnily enough, more or less the day after the funeral or something, a man who had been the Premier of Queensland, he was on the radio and he'd just been to America because, they're very much into philanthropy over there, and he was looking for the sorts of things they had set up there that we don't have here. So he set up a thing called the Queensland Community Foundation, which means that anybody like myself or anybody with a lot of money or a little bit of money can put it into the Queensland Community Fund, and at the end they'll invest it. It ended each year. They would sort of pay a dividend, and even if you'd only put in $10,000 or less, it would be something, it might be $500. But then you could nominate which charity you would like that to go to. So that's how I started, because then I set up a thing there. And funnily enough, they paid a dividend, even though I hadn't been investing there for very long. And I got $20,000. So I thought, now I can start. So what'll I do? So I thought I'd like to give a scholarship to a girl from the country to go to school down here while she's doing her education, her high school education. So that was very good. I got this lovely girl. I thought she must have been a lovely girl. And she came from right up north near Mount Isa, somewhere up that way. I didn't really know that then because I said to the lady who was the head mistress that what I would like to do is to be able to keep in touch with her. Oh, she said, no, privacy would not allow that. Oh, I said, right. Well, I had been planning to give a scholarship here annually, but that's the last one I'll give because I want to be able to be in touch with the people that I give money to. So it wasn't for years later that I was doing a tour around Australia with Bill Peach, and they flew into that town, and I agonised as to whether I'd ring up the mother because I didn't know. At that stage, I didn't know anything, but my spies in the school had told me that they came from there, etc., and what the surname was. And so eventually I got courage up and I rang her, and she was, absolutely delighted. So she worked at the airport, and our plane was going out the next day, and she knew I was with them. And so we met at the airport and fell on each other's shoulders, etc. So that it proved to me that people like to meet the people who've given them something or other. So that's where I sort of all started.
And can I ask, when you say that's where it all started, that connection, I know you have continued to connect with the people you've helped through scholarships, etc. How important is that experience to you, and what can you tell me a bit about what that brings to you, that connection with those people?
It gives me total joy. My book's called A Joyous Addiction, and that's the reason it's called that. Even yesterday, I was at University of UTS here in Sydney, and they got together 3 girls, or women really. The one first had a scholarship in 2017. The next one had it in about 2022, let's say, and the last one was just new, got it the year before. Well, I was just stunned to have these 3 women back again and telling me the stories of what they'd done since. The one in the middle, she was doing honours in law, and she graduated only a couple of years ago, and now she's a lecturer at UTS. She's also working in a lawyer's practice, and she's doing all sorts of other things too, and she's just a joy to even look at. The one who was older did nursing, and now she's found her speciality is mental nursing. So I thought that was terrific. But this little one, when she said in the interview that she wanted to be a project manager on the building site, she's a little skinny thing, and you think, how could she ever tell a tradesman to do this or do that? She is now.
Wow. Oh, fabulous.
Isn't that wonderful? So that's the sort of thrill I get when I meet these people.
Would you describe yourself as a feminist, or is it more based on the personal experience of your life?
I'd say that probably I would call myself a feminist, because I still think there's a long way to go, and I'm worried the young women of today might be letting things that we fought for go by the wayside. So yes, I am.
I love that. I just thought, because I know your scholarships are helping young women, it seems like a through line. I just want to touch on how you made this all happen. The way you've chosen to do philanthropy doesn't actually sound that straightforward. It sounds quite strategic. It sounds like you needed to think through not only where you were giving the funds, but also you had to manage the funds in the first place.
Well, serendipity, actually. I have no real plan. Things come one at a time and appeal to me, and so then naturally now I'm so spread that it's a bit difficult to do the whole thing. But I get joy out of the whole thing and all the different strands to it. I give through 4 universities, and have set up foundations in each of those and give scholarships there. I give scholarship to the Australian Ballet School, and then I've had 3 women who've graduated from that and got scholarships, or not got contracts, I mean. 2 of them with the Australian Ballet and the 3rd one with the New Zealand Ballet. So that's very exciting. One of those 3 has now left the Australian Ballet and she's working with the Wiggles, which is quite astonishing to me. Anyway, she's enjoying that very much. But then you have all sorts of things, like I play bridge, for example, and there's a foundation called the Neurological Research Association of Australia, which is from the University of New South Wales, and they believe that bridge is very good for the brain, so they set up a little competition throughout Australia each year, and everyone plays for it, you see. But as well as that, they send out a magazine. And one of the magazines came out and it said, we are looking for sponsors for the PhD. I saw the name of the bloke and rang him up the next day and said, I'd like to give a scholarship, thank you. So I've had about 5 of those over many years. Same with NIDA. My sister, whom unfortunately died when she was very young, but she got a scholarship to Bristol Old Vic as a stage designer. So I give scholarship at NIDA for girls to do stage design or even costume design. And then I've got a little side one there where one woman who's passed all her exams about costume goes somewhere or other to get something else from overseas. And the first one went to a tailor in Bond Street in London.
Oh, wow.
Well, wasn't that exciting? So there's been several of those as well. So there you go.
I can see when you're talking about all the things that these scholarships allow people to achieve, gives you that joy. I can see the twinkle in your eye. Has there ever been any challenges in this work for you?
Well, I take it step by step, and no, I don't think so. I ring up a professor or I have a chat with this one or that one. Mind you, when I started, I had never spoken to a professor in my life, but now I'm quite comfortable chatting to them and saying that I would like to do this or that. Just as a bit of an example, I've decided that rather than give a scholarship for 1 year, in 3 universities I've decided this, I'd prefer to do it over the entire time of their studies, whether it be 3 or 4 years. In other words, I'll have them all going, there'll be 4 of them perhaps all going together. But I think it'll give them more certainty with the balance of life. You know, they won't be struggling to pay for their rent, etc. But of course, they'd have to perform every year. I mean, they couldn't get it unless they were, their GPA would have to be quite good and so on. But I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be wonderful.
You mentioned earlier that when you first started that there wasn't a big philanthropy tradition, I suppose, in Australia. It's much more known in America. Did you ever look at what was happening in America, or you've kind of just forged your own way ahead here?
Well, I think I've done more or less my own thing, but I didn't know. I had heard that they had, of course, they've got people with huge amounts of money there, but I started off thinking that I'd just restrict my philanthropy to Queensland, but I've got over that because people move from state to state and so on. And I've got one scholarship that I give, which is for women to do advanced training as nurses, and I want them to work above the Tropic of Capricorn so that they're working all in the north of Australia. So I've had them come out of it and go to Broome and Darwin and right up to Weipa in Queensland and so on. That gives me a great thrill.
You've been doing this for a long time now, but can you reflect on whether this work has changed you?
Well, perhaps it's made me more self-assured a bit, although I was quite a self-assured in the bank. When I finished there, I was doing quite well. But it's been a new career for me entirely. I've had a new career and I'm very happy with it.
This is a second career and you're still going strong at 95. Did you ever think you'd be still engaged in this way at this age?
I've never thought about how long it's going to be. I just keep going day to day. But so long as I can get up off the floor without pulling myself up, I set the goal for 95 and now I've extended it to 99.
I think there'll be a lot of people happy to hear that. We have touched on the kind of impact that you create in your work, but I'm wondering if you have any particular stories of someone that you've helped that has touched you in a way that stayed with you for a while?
Oh, there's many of those, actually. The ballerina who's become a wiggle, I've actually become the grandmother of that family. And there's 3 children and the 2 adults. And they came from Cairns in North Queensland. When she got the scholarship, they moved the whole family to Melbourne. The wife is a teacher and the husband is a worker of domestic violence type of thing, which is really, really stressful thing to do. But I've become so keen on this family, and I think they're pretty keen on me too. But to see her, that wiggle that she's turned into, gave me such a thrill, absolutely.
Do you see many of the people you help like family now because of those connections you have with them beyond providing the funds?
Well, I try to keep in touch. You can't really. If you have a look at that magazine, I've given more than 150 to Queensland University of Technology, for example.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't keep up with all of them, sadly. But I do, some of them I still do, and I get to be quite close to them and follow things that they're doing and so on. It's really interesting.
Laurie, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That's philanthropist Laurie Cowled. What an extraordinary life, and what a way to make your money do something special. If you know someone who's doing amazing things, making this world a better place, just like Laurie, please let me know. You'll find my email in the episode notes. I'm Siobhan Hunt. See you next time on A Better World Blueprint.